it's not China, but the French. Mistral is back with a bang. They have got a new model, which they're calling Mistral Small 3. Whether it is small or not, that's a totally different topic because it's a 24 billion parameter model. But the good news for Mistral fans is that Mistral is committing or renewing the commitment to release models in Apache 2.0 license, which is a permissive license. So this model is going to be first in that series probably. Once again, that Mistral is coming back into the pure open source scene, for which I'm quite excited. And this model is Apache 2.0 license. It's got 24 billion parameters. 81% on MMLU, even though I don't think a lot of us care about MMLU at this point. So I'm going to show you everything that I know about this model and how you can use this model within your local computer. First of all, let's go through the announcement, understand like basics of what is this model. Once again, kudos to Mistral team for putting Qwen as part of the benchmark comparison, because I've seen a lot of these benchmarks. I've hardly seen these models like Qwen and DeepSeek being compared with the non-Chinese companies. So this is the first time I'm seeing Qwen on a benchmark, which makes me really, really happy. So you've got this y-axis, which is performance / MMLU Pro. And on the x-axis, you've got the latency / milliseconds per token. And you can see Mistral scores high, and then it takes a lesser amount of time because it's a lightweight model. So they're basically comparing it with 32 billion parameter model. Then you've got GPT-4o mini, and then you've got Gemma 2, 27 billion parameter model. This is purely on MMLU Pro. If you're a data visualization enthusiast, you might have something to say about the x-axis and y-axis, but then I'll just leave it to you. Now, in terms of human evaluation, they have hired some external human evaluator, and then they found that Mistral actually is preferred more than 50% of the time when they compared it with Gemma and other models respectively with respect to human evaluators. There are a lot of other benchmarks, but I'm going to show you what is important for you to know. So if you were to use this model, first, why do you have to use this model? There are like tons of models, and out of which, if you were to pick this particular model, why would you use it? There are a few reasons that Mistral is listing, which is quite valid if you were to use this model. The very first one is if you want a really faster response for conversational assistance, which means you want to have a chatbot, and the chatbot should not take a lot of time in thinking, and it should just give you a good response back, which is very good. Low latency function calling. One of the tests that I'm going to show you is to actually return JSON object. So we're going to test how good Mistral is. So function calling is this thing that is quite foundational for all the agentic behaviors, and Mistral is saying that this is low latency. That means it can respond faster, but also it can do function calling. And it can also help you to fine tune. This is a completely open model. So you can take this model and then fine tune it. They've released two versions of this model. One, the base model. Second one is the instruction fine tune model. So you can just like literally take the base model and start fine tuning for domain specific use cases. And finally, for hobbyists and organizations that respect the privacy or it cares about data integrity, they can do local inference with quantized model. So that's what we are going to do as part of this video, where I'm going to show you how to load this model in LM Studio and then start using it. So if you were to access the model, the way you can access the model is there are like a lot of different ways, but I'm going to show you that you can go to Hugging Face's model hub, and then you can already see the model being available. So this is the Mistral Small, the third one, or the 24 billion parameter model. Instruct released, it says 2501. I think they meant to release on 2501, but somehow they ended up on 3001 30th. So this is the new model, and this is supposed to have all the things that we said. One very important information is that this model is multilingual. A lot of like at least my audience, they've always asked about European languages or Spanish. In this case, this model supports Spanish, supports French, German, Italian, and a bunch of other languages like Chinese, Japanese, Korean, Portuguese, Dutch, and Polish. So if you are building solutions for Europe, I think this is one of the best models that you can use, and we also would try some multilingual test at the part of the test. It is agent centric because it does like good function calling, and there are like a bunch of other things that you can do to understand how good the model is. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually show you how you can use the model. So I'm going to open my LM Studio. If you have not used LM Studio before, I would strongly encourage you to watch one of my LM Studio tutorials, or if you have used computer, this is pretty straightforward. The first thing that you have to do is you have to go to this Discover and then search for Mistral Small. When you search for Mistral Small, you might see a lot of different models. One thing that you have to pay attention to is you have Mistral Small 24 billion instruct. There are like a couple of different versions. I would say like go with anything that you have got. Either Bartowski, who is like a phenomenal quantization expert, or you can go with LM Studio Community. Either way, pick any of this model, which is the latest model. Just make sure that you get the right model name. This is a 14 GB model. So that means I'm using it with 4-bit quantization. I've got a 36 GB RAM. So even in my machine, it is not like super fast. So yeah, you need to have like decent compute for you to use this. But I guess people would start using this for distilling. People would probably give you a 2-bit quantization. So those things would make it easier for you to run on hardware that is like smaller than this. That's again, once again, I'm coming back to the same thing. They're calling this model a small model. They're talking about local inference, but I think it requires its own compute because it's a 24 billion parameter model, unlike the smaller models that we have got from Qwen and other companies. Anyways, you go here, download the model. After you download the model, all you have to do is use a new chat. Once you do that, you can see the model would likely load. In my case, it said that there is no memory for it to load, so I'm going to eject. And existing models, I've been loading a lot of models. And I've got Mistral model. So I've got the Mistral model and I've done already a bunch of questions I want to show you. Then we are going to see some live demo. The first one is I've got a very simple addition problem. For those who know OpenAI, ChatGPT from like 2 years ago, early users, you know that this used to be a meme with OpenAI back in the day. So I just simply said, what is 2 plus 2? And then the speed is 12.34 tokens per second. And first token generation this is an important metric, time to first token TTFT. So it is like less than a second. So you can see it said sum of 2 plus 2 is equal to 4. Here it is, and then it give me in a coded block. Cool. Now let's up it and then see if it can actually do JSON extraction. One of the most important thing this model is supposed to do is function calling, and the fundamental of function calling is the ability of the model to extract JSON component or return the right JSON component, especially when it can adhere or stick to the JSON schema that we have given. So LM Studio has something called JSON structured output. So the way you can get us here, if you go here, the labs, you click this, you can see that there is an option for structured output. Once you tick mark the structured output, you have to put a valid schema. So I've given a schema. Basically, my schema asks me to describes about name and email ID, and then it says name and email ID are required. So this is a simple schema, and once you have a valid schema there, you can see valid JSON. If you do not have any clue about it, most of the companies, when they design an API contract, they usually have the API contract information, and from there you can get the valid schema, which you have to use it for the function that you're trying to call. So I've set this up. Then I went ahead and asked a question, extract the username, age, and email from this. John Doe, 25 years old. His email is this. As you can see, my instruction clearly says username, age, and email from this. Even though my instruction clearly says that, our JSON schema only talks about name and email, and it does not talk about age, and hence it does not give me anything related to age. So if I want age, I can go ahead, probably without making any mistake, edit this JSON scheme. Let's try if I can actually do it. Oops, no. As you can see here, I can go fix this schema. I can go to chat.openai.com. maybe let's go. Can you fix this schema for me? I can say age, and I have to say age, numeric. This is user's age. This is what happens when you try to demo something without having the code already. Somehow I ended up using O1 mini, so it's going to think everything. Okay. Finally, it gave me something. I'm going to just blindly copy it here, go back to my LM Studio, paste it here, and the JSON is valid. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to rerun the same thing. Okay. And then we are going to see if it is giving us the age as well. So save it, copy and paste it, send it. And it's running. Name, email, and age. Successfully we extracted 3. So that means this is a good model for JSON extraction or structured output. That technically means this model is supposed to do well for function calling. That in turn means this model could have really good agentic behaviors, even though I would love to test it in the future videos. Next, I gave it a very simple puzzle that we have been giving all these models. I just changed the name Sally to Ramya, which is an Indian name. I just started thinking that, some of these companies might be actually putting either intentionally, unintentionally, no judging, the exact same question that we test usually on the internet. So I said, okay, Ramya, a girl has 3 brothers. Each brother has 2 sisters. How many sisters does Ramya have? If Ramya has 3 brothers, each brother has 2 sisters, it means Ramya is one of the sisters. Since there are 2 sisters in total, we know Ramya is one of them. There must be only one other sister. So therefore, Ramya has 1 sister, which it ended up answering correctly. Each brother has 2 sisters. So for this question, this is the right answer, and it gave me the right answer, which is good for a small model. So then I tried to give it some, let's say ethical hacking, decryption kind of a task. It failed, which is kind of expected, because usually only thinking models do this very well. Other models tend to do it very bad. So for example, I can give the same question to my chat GPT O1 mini, hoping that chat GPT O1 mini would think correctly and then try to give me the right answer. And you can see that it gave me the right answer without any fuss. It says I love Mistral, and then it gave me I love Mistral, which Mistral itself could not decode. It tried its best, but everybody has their own limitation. It kind of came closer, but it did not do the job. So understood. Then I asked the same question that I've been asking all the models for the last 2 years, which is write a joke about Elon Musk. Why did Elon Musk bring a ladder to the moon? Because he heard there was going to be a rocket launch. Wanted to make sure that he could reach new heights. The joke is so boring. So I'm going to forget that I even asked this question. Now what we're going to do is we're going to just ask question live, so you can understand the speed and what kind of question I'm asking without having any edits. You can see in real time. Let's go ahead and then ask a very simple question. And the simple question, what is the capital of USA? Okay. So for this question, what is the capital of USA? It was named, so it gives me the answer, what is the capital of USA? And you can see it's not like super fast, but if you want to have batch processes running, then it is good. I've got one more question where I wanted to give me something in French. So I'm going to go ahead, start a new chat, ask this question, give me 5 non-formal ways to say see you later in French. Let's see if it can give me in French. A plus, salute, bisous, means kisses. I mean, seriously. You're saying that I can say kisses in French. That means bye. Okay, I'm not honestly sure if this is like all true. If anybody who's from France or knows actually the French culture, please let me know. Et taute, I don't know how do you pronounce it, but anyways, it answered in French. That's good for me. So what we are going to try to do next is we're trying to see if we can use this as part of the code. Mind you that I have already good amount of my RAM filled in with this model, so this might fail. If this fails, I'm pretty sorry about it, but I want to show you how to do it. First, I'm going to eject this model. After I eject this model, I'm going to go to my developer tab, and after I go to my developer tab, I'm going to just load the model. I'm going to put Mistral into it and then click load. And hopefully, thankfully, it is loading. My RAM is being used, and at this point you can see the Mistral model is loaded, and my endpoint is ready. I'm going to start the server at this particular endpoint, so you can see that this model is available. So I've already got the code in my Visual Studio Code, and the last time I tried, the model was not available. So I've got the endpoint here. So it's a very simple Python code. Import request, import JSON from datetime, and you have got all these things which we just generally give here. And the model name is LM Studio Community DeepSeek R1 Distill. That is the one. And what is the system prompt? You're a conversational agent that always answers straight to the point, always ends your accurate response with a ASCII drawing of a cat. The question from the user is, as you can see here, this is a very popular ChatML format. Give me 5 non-formal ways to say see you later in French. So let's see if we can send this. This is the data, and I'm sending the payload, and we're going to print the result. And it's getting run. You can go here and then see it's starting accumulating the token, and it is finally getting the answer back. So if you want, I can copy this, put it in a JSON parser. So JSON parser. And we can just parse it. Okay, so There's a parsing syntax error, don't mind it, but you have got the content here, which is finally the output answer, the number of tokens it took, the number of tokens it gave me output, and you can see everything. So that means if you happen to use this model, you can also use it to develop softwares locally within your computer. I might probably do more tests with this model and Quen model and the other, recent small models. But for now, I think this is an excellent release from Mistral. I'm quite very happy to see Mistral again committing back to what they were known for. So they're saying we are renewing our commitment to using Apache 2.0 license for general purpose models as we progressively move away from MRL license model, which was like their own version of the license. So I'm very happy to see this. They've made the model available as part of their API platform. If you want to test it, you can go test it. But again, the base model is available, and the instruct model is available on Hugging Face. You just have to give a consent that you are, you accept the terms and conditions. And after that, you can use it. I might start putting together a fine-tuning tutorial for this model for a domain-specific use case. But otherwise, thank you so much, Mistral, for this amazing release. And see you in another video. Happy prompting.